without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Andre Gonçalves, who's going to come to talk to us today about lean and agile approach and how he's been putting it into place in the Continental Automotive plant here in Toulouse. A very special presentation, actually, that only he does on an internal basis. So you're very lucky to receive this presentation and impart his knowledge today. Thank you so much, Mr. Gonçalves, for coming to talk to us today, and I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for hosting me for that, because it's really a pleasure to share this experience with you. I don't know knowledge, because I have a lot of things to learn still in manufacturing in Agile. It's really a pleasure to share it with you. So I will share my screen. Okay, you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go. So, hello everybody. So André Gonçalves, I'm plant manager in continental Toulouse, so in south of France, where today is a beautiful weather. I have 70 years of automotive experience, only automotive, unfortunately. But I learned a lot from this business. So I had several positions. I started as a lean product manager. That's why maybe I'm really a fan of lean manufacturing. Then I moved to supply chain management. I've made an experience also as production manager. Then I came during 1 year in central operation to work on transformation, especially agile transformation. So it was last year. And from now the 1st of January this year, I took the plant management of the factory of Toulouse. So as I told you, I'm clearly a lean manufacturing addict. It's something that I started from my beginning of the career, and even in all my experience, I've tried to learn and try a lot of things in lean manufacturing. And due to my last year experience, I'm in agile transformation. I put connect me with me in LinkedIn because clearly it's a network where I like to exchange, to have information. I take a lot of information out from people that I know, and it's really also interesting to share with students, with internship and other people from other business on this topic. So I will just introduce you on the plant of Toulouse. So this is the plant. As you can see in Toulouse, the plant is represented by the orange color, but we are not alone. It's the French headquarters of Continental Automotive. So we have the plant of Toulouse in orange here. We have also the logistic that you have here, the warehouse, and the rest is R&D department, shared services, central locations. For other activity that do not rely on my proper activity of Toulouse. Then we are 400 people in the plant of Toulouse with 67 male, percentage of male, sorry, I have male, and 23% of female. We have the production plant that you see, nearly 9,000 square meters with 400 logistic area, because we have this warehouse, external warehouse, but we have also some other logistic area here for mechanical reason and here for electric components. And all in all, we have 34 manufacturing lines that you have nearly here in front end and back end. And here you have some pictures of production area. You can see here a back end picture. What we call front end and back end is because we are manufacturing electronic component. I will show you after. And that's why we have a different. You have also some things that are really innovative in automotive. We have an e-learning box that you have here. So it's a learning box that we have really in the middle of the plant, not in meeting rooms and so on. It's right in the middle of the production area. We are doing some digital training, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, when we have some time to share for that. And something that learning is really something that a value that we have in Continental. You have some also AAGV, so it's factory 4.0 items, and one picture of another assembly lines. Unfortunately, I cannot share with you a lot of video picture from the plants. but it's really a full automatized plant with a lot of Factory 4.0 robotization. So our lean approach in Toulouse. What I learned first in the beginning of my experience, it's that we were doing lean manufacturing only on one-shot workshops, meaning that we were doing 3 days, 4 days, 5 days of complete lean workshop, specific on one topic, on one area and something like that. We were having a lot of people, 10 people, even 15 people, focus only on this topic. And then after we were making a lot of action plan and things like that. And at the end of the week, we were really happy of what we made. But it was really one shot because after this period, then nobody was taking care of the real action plan. The people were out, and so the people in place of the shop floor were not, I will say, taking care of that. And finally, we were not really moving the culture. The second also thing that I saw, it was to say, we saw in this factory, we saw in Toyota that they are using 5S, they are using Kanban, they are using this type of tool, of lean manufacturing tool, so we have to do it because it's a benchmark and we have to do it. But we were clearly not thinking about why we are doing that. Do we need really that? Is it the most important weakness that we have? And we are putting the right tool in front of that. And I had to apply a lot of tools, and it was my first experience as this project manager. My first experience was to say, to put the 5S rollout, but without any reason, except the fact that it was a Toyota benchmark. So without understanding that, clearly, it has not worked really well in the long term. It was really good in the first period, but then after, it really stopped quickly, and the culture was not here. The first really improvement that we had in terms of culture is when we learn about kata. So kata, it's an approach coming from my brother, American-German guy, that was really asking itself, how did it come that in Europe we are trying to force with tools to try to roll out some tools, but we are not succeeding in changing the culture? And then he had a lot of visits in Toyota factory, and he saw that in those factories, he was not having those kind of boards with all the workshop, those kind of tools, implementation and marketing to say, I am implementing 5S, I am doing Kanban, I am doing a Junka. It was just the people that were acting in this way. And so he guessed that it was a real mindset, a real behavior that were behind the Toyota model, but also behind the Japanese mindsets. And so he said, what should be better than a kata coming from the karate to learn that? Because in kata, what you are doing, you are multiplying several times the same exercise to be able, during a battle, to automatically, without thinking, having the same behavior and the same exercise. And so this guy made this model that is based on really 5 questions. Here you have the 4th step, I will explain. He made this model to based on this analysis and say whatever the 5S, whatever the tools that we are talking about, you are always asking the same question as a problem solving. First question, what is your challenge? So what is your target condition? Second question, where are you now? So what is your target condition and where are you now? Third question, what are the different obstacles that you have in between both? And then after, we used to say we have 4 and 5 questions. So the 4th question is, what do you take at the first experimentation? So it means that you understood what kind of obstacle you have in between, and then you take a first step and you try it. And then the 5th question, it's when you have this loop done, then you have 2 possibilities. You succeed on your first step, perfect. So what is your next step? Or you fail in this first step, but then you learn something. Because it means that you had some hypotheses at the beginning that you choose, but finally it does not work. So it means that you learn something from the condition. And then you continue the loop. And you have always people, coaches that are asking you more and more questions until the moment that from your proper behavior mindset, you will automatically have the step on your mind and automatically deploy it. The second really model that helps us to change our culture is the Shingo model. So we were really having a lot of knowledge in the tools. We came with this kata approach to have a personal mindset, but finally something was missing. And what we saw, so it's also one example of models, but you can have other one. It's linked to leadership model. So the Shingo model is coming from Mr. Shingo that was participating to the Toyota production system in really early 19. And he made also this model to say Toyota is not only applying some toolbox. What they are having, it's a complete system, a complete model. They have guiding principle. They have value. And we'll see afterward what kind of value they have. Then after, they implement a system to make people work with a good flow, with not too many stocks, with a lean approach. And they try to really fit this system to make people work in the lean way as they propose. Then after, they align the guiding principle with the system, but this system also drives the guiding principle. It means that when you have a good system, automatically, even the people that are not normally acting in the value, this system will bring them in the principle that you define. And we'll see what we are talking about later. Then after, you're having some tools. Your system will show that you have a weakness here. And so it will guide you on which tool you should take to solve this issue. And the tools enables the system to work. And it's based on that guiding principle, system, tools, then you are creating results and you are affirming the guiding principle that you set. And this is the culture and the behavior of a company. And this model was the modelization of the Toyota production system. And when we learned about that, then we understood the complete leadership of Toyota and not only the tools that we are using and the mindset. And so we just made something in Continental Toulouse, with a leadership cycle saying that we need to bring a vision, like the guiding principle, a structure, like the system, some monitoring of that to check that we are okay, and some tools, and coaching. And this is the continental leadership approach that we had. So in terms of vision, we are using the Oshin-Kanri matrix. So I will let you look in detail because we don't have enough time to talk about all the tools, but it's an exercise to define your visions, your mission, then after the project that you will handle and the roadmap, the strategy. Then after in the structure, we are using the leader standard work. So the leader standard work, it's the same thing that the standard work that you have in operation. So it means that when we have operators in front of the manufacturing lines, you are asking them to do a standard work. So making special movement with the parts, and you ask them to do that to respect the cycle time, respect the quality, and do the job correctly. Leader standard work, it's exactly the same for managers, meaning that we set up the target of the managers, and then we discuss together what kind of system, what kind of routine, meetings, tools they have to use to manage their department correctly in the same way than an operator. And then we check that they are always driven by all the indicators. So we have to make quality in a good delay with the logistic, with the costs, and making sure that we are not just having a focus on one topic because we are late, so we are just talking to the logistic and not dealing with quality. No, we have to deal with all the different pillars every time. In the monitoring, we have a lot of visual management, but a special Obeya room, which is a kind of war room that displays the complete system that we have here. So we have all the KPIs, operating KPIs, on the left side of the BA, and on the right side of the BA, we have all the Kaizen one, so it means all the improvements topics. And we have this war room where we are doing all our meetings in stand-up to be efficient, but it's really important to have this visual approach that point out where you have the problem, when you have the problem, and do you have an action in front of that or not. And after we are doing some kata coaching. So we have some specific kata coach that already practice that a lot of time. We consider that you cannot be a kata coach before doing 120 cycle of coaching, of kata, sorry. And then you are able to, with this practice, to really being in the position of coach. And so we are trying for all the different leader-centered work and tools monitoring, having some kata coach that advise you on your way. So this clearly, I will not go in detail in the different tools. This, I think you can find it everywhere. But what I wanted to point out is the fact that it's cultural change. You have to understand why are you doing that. You have to understand which kind of system of leadership approach is needed. And then after, it's a cultural change, so it takes time. It's not 1 year, 2 years. You will put first the value, the principle, the system, the tools. You will readjust always, and it takes at least 3 to 5 years to set up the culture from the top to down, and I would say from bottom up also. And it takes time, and it needs time also to readjust. Then the problematic that we had, I would say, that is that the world changed a lot, and I think you saw it. And now the lean approach, it's not 100% fitting to the constraint that we have around us. So I don't think that I need to spend so much time in the VUCA. I hope that you already heard of that. The volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. We had a lot of examples in continental automotive market, but the COVID situation clearly stated to everybody that when I made this first presentation of VUCA 1 year ago, or a little bit earlier, it was in January last year, I have my manager in Continental that was saying, what are you talking about? Okay, we have some constraint, we have some modification, but it's not so different from the past. And then the COVID came, and then now when you are talking about VUCA, everybody understands, and it's clear. So we cannot work as we worked in the past. The things change dramatically, especially in automotive. I think you heard that we stopped like everybody, but now we have the bull rip effect. Mean that we are missing a lot of components, electronic components. I'm losing 10 to 20% of my sales that were normally forecasted this month and the next month. And then when the component will be here in 6 months, we'll have so much backlog to recover that I will have a problem of capacity. So my year is already, I will say, forecast to be like this. It's the bull rip effect. So with this VUCA environment, clearly we have some antidote of that to try to counter a little bit those problematic. The volatility is the vision, so it's nice because in the Shingo model, we really have this point as mandatory to have a vision. It doesn't mean that you will not change your approach or strategy, whatever, clear, but the vision will stay nearly the same. To face the uncertainty, understanding, and that's in lean manufacturing, it's Gemba. When you miss something, when you are not clear about an information, go to Gemba. The Gemba is where the value added is created. So it means that if you have any problem with production, go to the line, observe, discuss with the people that are working in the line, you will get more information. If you have some problematic with forecast of sales, take your phone, call directly your customer, discuss. Maybe you will not have all the answer, but you will get the contact, and at least you will have, I would say, more transparent information. Don't wait by emails, things like that. Go directly in the contact of the shop floor, of the customer, of your counterparts, to make sure that you understand the situation and you are not keeping this uncertain situation. In complexity, try to be as much as clear and try to think about the fact that we are in a complex world, we are in a complex organization, but we can make it more clear and more simple. And in the ambiguity, clearly it's the agility. So, okay, the ambiguity is here, the movement can come, but if you are agile, if you are prepared to movements, then it's not as hard to accept. Why we had an agile movement that came, and specifically in the software area, more than in the hardware, like I'm doing in a Continental Automotive. You have here the lines of code that have really had an increase, a dramatic increase in automotive. You know that now the new cars are having billions of lines of codes, and it's much more than what you can see in the different area like Facebook, like F-35 fighter jets or Android. It was something where we were not prepared in the automotive markets. The problematic is that we were working in waterfall mode. I mean that we were having a mode of conception that we were discussing at the right beginning with the customer on which projects and the perimeter of the project and the characteristics, and then rolling out the project. Despite the fact that the project we are doing 2 to 3 years between the beginning and the start of production, the world were really changing, and then during this phase of initialization, analysis, design, construction, everything was really moving, and then finally we had some problems. So first of all, the projects were bigger and bigger, and so the time between the conception and the developments was increasing. And we were in a mode that we were not accepting changes during the project. And I heard so many times the fact that the customer changed his request and so on. So it's up to him because we are fitting and fulfilling the initial request. And at the end, the problematic is that we were staying with this position of complying to the initial project, but at the end, the customer was just not happy, even if it was his duty that he changed the different characteristic or project. At the end, we are supplier, is the customer, and we have a customer that is not happy. The agile way and came in the software to change a little bit the behavior on that. So at the end, the phase of the project has not changed, but it's just a different way of working on that. So first, self-organization of the team, autonomy. Then after, being in the behavior to welcome change, even in late developments. If we have a change, it has normally to be justified, and it's justified by the customer. It's justified by things that are changed. It's justified because we learned something during the project and we readjust. So if we have a real confirmed change, let's accept it and change, and also be happy about the opportunity of the evolution of our project during the time. And then at the end, clearly being focused on customer satisfaction, which is at the end where the business comes from us. So if the customer is not happy, at the end, he will not come back for other product and other production. So what does it mean to be agile? Agility, you have the normal definition, ability to move quickly and easily, ability to think and understand quickly, natural one. But if you ask to several companies that made an agile transformation, you will have for each company a different definition of agility. And it's normal because it's always also depending on the market of the business of the company. What is important to see once a time, it's the Agile Manifesto. It's the origin of the philosophy. And in the Agile Manifesto, you have 4 values and 12 principles. The value that you have here, it's individuals and interaction over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. This is really important, this sentence at the end, why there is a value in the item on the right. We value more the item on the left. So it means that we are not saying it's this one against this one. We still need processes and tools. We still need system for sure, but we prefer to have individual and interaction. We still need comprehensive documentation for sure, but it's better when we have working software. And something that's really important, it's not the same clearly way of working, the same mindset, and it's only for value, but they are really important. Then the second part of the manifesto is the 12 principles that you have here. So I will maybe not go through all the different one, but the first one, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. This is really important, the customer satisfaction. The second one, welcoming change. Then after, you have some autonomous things with business people and developers should work together. So this, you have to remind that it was in a software period made by software people, so it's oriented to software. But if you think about how to apply it in other business, it works also. The good environment to work with trust of the team. The face-to-face conversation to go in direct, as I was studying, telling you, the Gemba way to go where the information and when the value added is. The simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done. This I can tell you that when we talk about that in my team, it was really difficult to understand that at the end, what we want to do is to work less and to do not have what we call in Toyota muda. So it's loss of energy, loss of time, loss of money by doing things that are not having some value added at the end of the customer. And this principle is exactly in the same way to, I would say, having less work done, but more efficiency. The fact that it's always better when you have self-organizing, finally, it's simpler and it's working really better. And the fact that you need regular interval to check always in stand-up and things like that, where we are to adjust, to get the feedback of the customer, and not, as I told you before, start from the beginning with a project and deliver something at the end, but having the surprise that finally you are not aligned with what the customer asks. This agile methodology is clearly a change between the hierarchy old way of working also to the more autonomous way in more in organism organization. You will have some people that will move from project to another. You will have ability to change. You will have clearly autonomy. When you see in the bubble the color, it represents the different knowledge, different people that used to be in software, like developers, like HMI engineers, like coach, and we try to have some different teams with a mix of competency, and you are doing those projects during 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months for some, and then after you can move people from different teams and have more diversity. So it's clearly a different way of working. It's not so easy to put in place. Because you have some people in the top area that have the feeling to lose power. And you have also some people from the usual low area that feel uncomfortable by having more, I would say, responsibility. So it's something that needs some time also to change, but really it's more, I would say, in line with also actual way of working and thinking in the our society also. Being agile, it's clearly, as I told also for the lean manufacturing, it's not, you have to follow a principle, you have to follow a work style, or you have to follow some tools. It's everything, mean that you can, it's not because you are using Kanban work package that you are agile, you are doing Scrum that you are agile. It's a mix of everything. And it's exactly what I explained before. There is toolbox, there is system, vision, principle, and at the end it's overall that is creating the culture and really the behavior of agile. I talk about the kata approach coming from the martial arts for the Toyota lean manufacturing. In the agile philosophy, you have the Shu-Ari, which is coming from a martial art, the Aikido also. And it's with 3 steps of development. The shoe, it's the first step where you need to learn and follow the rules. So in this step, you will learn from Scrum, from the manifesto, and you will just strictly apply it just to test, to trial, and to understand that. When you have already practiced that a lot, then after you go to the R. So it's to bend a little bit the rule, to break the rules, to adapt that to your proper context. You have enough experience to understand the behavior, the tools, the approach, so you can already adapt it to your real position, your real problematic. And then the RE, it's when you can go even beyond the rule. I mean that in this kind of path, you can create your complete model and make this evoluting to something else that you understand. Or what is also used to say at the RE is that you are able, because you learn enough, to teach to the shoe, to the new people that are coming. Here you have some example of principle of that can evaluate during the different paths. So welcoming change at the beginning. Then after we embrace change, and then in the RE you are really seeking for change, which is slightly different. In SHU, hiring the right people. In the R, motivating the people that you have. And RE, just trusting the people in autonomy that you are working with. Then after talk face-to-face, talk mind-to-mind, and talk heart-to-heart. And you have team retrospective, so it's team session of feedback. Personal retrospective, which is much more difficult than team retrospective. And then when you are getting to the higher level, then you can have a complete company retrospective, a complete ability to have a clear and transparent feedback in the company. So we talk about lean, we talk about agile. So how to be lean agile? So the good news is that there is a lot of common principle between both approaches. The differences are in the fact that lean has been developed by Toyota, I think 60 to 70 years ago, and focus on production of hardware in factories. Agile has been developed by software area in the beginning of 21st century, and it was focused on production of software, which is slightly different. But you have a lot of common principles. I told you that I was going to show you the Shingo model with the 10 lean principles. So this is the pyramid of the Shingo model. So first things, you see that the Shingo principles are shown in the pyramid way. So it was the old style one, but the lean principles are still okay. So you have in the Shingo model, create value for the customer that fits completely to customer satisfaction, and also to the simplicity, sustainable pace, and so on. You have also create constancy of purpose, think systematically. You have embrace scientific thinking, seek perfection, lead with humility, respect every individual. And as you can see, there is a lot of things that are common, some things that are slightly different, but really the customer focus, the efficiency, the simplicity, the fact to respect the people, to trust the people, to work in autonomy are clearly the same. So what we started to study and to apply in Continental is the lean agile principle. So it's a safe framework. So it's an external company. It's called SAFE. And you can go to the internet website. You will have a lot of information in an open way. And they made the mix between the 12 agile principle and the Shingo model principle. And you can see that you have a mix of that. So 10 principles, take an economic view, apply system thinking, assume variability, preserve option, build incrementally with fast integrated learning cycle, base milestone on objective evaluation and working system, visualize and limit WIP. So this is clearly an hardware factory way. So it's a pull and flow approach of Toyota, reduce batch size and manage queue length, apply cadence, iteration, so synchronize and cross-domain planning, unlock the intrinsic motivation of knowledge workers, decentralize decision-making, autonomy, and organize around value, and I will add around value added. So this is clearly the mix of both, and this is also proof that we can be lean and focus on the shop floor, clear itself on lean principle because a lean manufacturing way, because it's where we need to focus on flow and so on. But in the offices of factories, where you are dealing with project and things like that, you can also maybe a little bit go in the lean principle and mix both. And then having both approach that are applying in the factory, but without having both systems. And this is really important because we see much more changes. We see much more necessity of autonomy in the factory team. And this is clearly one answer, not the best, not the only one, but one answer on how to approach this change of environment around us. So, as we already told before, what it's important, it's really having a vision. This is really, really important. If you do not understand why you are doing that, if you do not have in your future company a North Star, a vision that's shared with everybody, then it will never work. It will be only a push system. The people at the end will not understand why they are doing the work, why are they doing that, and then it will not work. It's difficult because the vision really, you can publish a vision, publish some value, but not living that in the day-to-day. And this is also one weakness from what we had in the industry. It's to publish some value, asking to the people to act those value, but at the end, you see in the management, it's not really the truth. And then the people anyway follow the behavior of the manager, the real action of the manager, but not the value and not what they are saying. And this is important. So the why and the North Star, it's important. Then after you need a system. If you are not having a system in place, having some visual management, some good approach, some routines, having some really good meetings, performance meetings, sharing meetings, really your organization is set for that. If you don't have this system that obliges the people to regularly think about all the different topics and so on, then it will not work. For instance, for Agile, it is asked to have small iteration, high frequency of meetings. We implement this year in the plant, and I had one group that was asking to make a stand-up meeting only once a week. And the other group were acting 3 times a week. And automatically we say, okay, just try, you will see. And they figure out after 1 month that 1 meeting per week was not enough because there were so many things to share, to discuss during this week that at the end, they were asking for other meeting and getting in touch during this week because it was too long. And as we were asking for short iteration, short action, this kind of system of having only once a week, the meeting was not good. And they came back to the other teams setup. So it's a 3 times a week stand-up meeting. It's only 15 minutes, not more, but at least it's a moment where we can share where we are, the to-do list and so on. So the system is really important because as you saw before, also the system is driving the behavior. Then after, it's good to have vision, to have an organization, but if you don't know if you're acting well, if you don't know about the results, then you will maybe have the wrong approach and the wrong path. So that's why KPI monitoring, it's important. You have to know if you are producing, what are your results? What are you targeting to have? And are you in the right tendency on that? If you are doing some project for customer, this is also the feedback from the customer. Are you sure that you are still in line with what the customer is asking? Are you sure that you will satisfy the customer at the end? So it's the same one. It's also a key performance indicator, this customer feedback. So it's really important to have this vision, understanding why are we doing that, an organization, a system to set it up, and some monitoring to make sure that finally you are having some results. It's working, or it's not working, but you learn that what you are doing, it's not okay, so you need to readjust. And this clearly make a complete project, a company project that brings some results. If you are not having this kind of pillars, at the end you will miss something. So that's why I was not focusing during this presentation on tools and not saying what is a 5S, what is a Educa, and so on, because I hope that I will transmit more the message of the fact that you need to understand the philosophy, you need to understand what kind of system you put in place, and to always learn and readjust with the monitoring. The tools, at the end, it's only a way to help you to improve the things. It's just like an app on your phone to be quicker on something. But it's not the way exactly that you will, at the end, in the middle term and long term, improve really your department, your company. And it's clearly what we are distributing today, in the same way than the value of the Agile principle, the Agile Manifesto. We better work on the behavior, on the mindsets, other than applying tools. And it's clearly the message that we are discussing more and more with the people of my clients today. So next step to agility, I would just propose you some things to see, some things to read also. It's something that inspired me a lot. In terms of video, sorry, Bianchi, I did not change it, it's in French. In terms of video, there is 3 things that I saw. I think it's all in TEDx. Turn the ship around, you have to see it. It's the story of a captain of the Marines, US Marine, that clearly put an agile organization with his company, with his soldiers, which is clearly not an area where we think about putting some agile organization. But he understood that he were not having people with him, he were not going in a good way with his soldiers, and he just decided to go to autonomous discussion, autonomous strategy. I think he discovered, I would say, afterward that he was going in an agile way, but he made the right decision to manage correctly, I would say, his people. So it's really an inspiring video. Something that fits to my, you see, to my purpose, agile for your family. It's something that is really interesting because it's help you to see that finally it's some kind of behavior, some kind of mindset that can be applied to whatever situation. So in this case, it's with family. It's funny video. It's just making you aware that this kind of, you can pick, make a cherry picking on things in Agile, in Lean, that will also be okay in your personal life. And Simon Sinek, maybe you already heard of his name. He's really somebody that's really inspired and inspiring. And one of his best videos is Work Out the Why. And he's explaining how Apple made the difference between the other ones, and how some companies succeed really to transmit the strategy, transmit the vision, and make the things running well. Because of the why, particularly. And it will also, I hope, remind you what we discussed about the vision and the guiding principle. In terms of books, except the Toyota production system, that it's a must-have for sure, here I've put to you the Toyota Kata, because then it will explain you the difference between the European mindset and the Japanese mindset, and how to have the correct mindset to apply the lean manufacturing way. The Discover Excellence book, it's the Shingo model. That's so explaining about what I told you, the principle, the system, the monitoring on that, and how Shingo also act a lot in the Toyota production system. But this is the modelization of that. And truly interesting, it gives also some example of Toyota that took over a company, Yumi company in US. That was a company that has been closed by General Motors, if I remember, and they rehired the people and apply this kind of strategy. And then it has worked a lot because it has been the most productive automotive company during the 80s and the 90s. The lean strategy is a good approach from a sensei that I know, Michael Ballet, that already came in Continental Toulouse, and I had to make a gamba with him, and I can tell you that I suffer a lot because it's a good sensei, a good teacher, and he pushed me to the limits. And that's why I learned a lot with him. I read already some books of lean manufacturing that he made, and they are always good and having the good approach to understand the lean manufacturing. And then after Jeff Sertelen, which is one of the initiators, maybe one of the most well-known founder of the Agile Manifesto. And here is just focusing on one tool, but it's really nice. It's the Scrum one, and it's also in the same way that we discuss how the heart of doing twice the work in half a time, so being more efficient and with less energy spent on that. It's one also a nice book to read on this topic of agility. Okay, that's nearly all from my side. I hope it was not so quick.
No, it was great. Well, certainly for my folks, fantastic add-on to what we have done so far. And hopefully there's a few questions to come from the group.
If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat box or just say them out loud. You can take the mic, open up your mic, and we'll answer your questions.
Hello. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was super interesting. My question would be, in your experience, what motivates you in the first place to start in this sector of activity?
I was initially industrial engineering guy doing some program on automatism. And so I would say I was well structured in this way. And I had to participate to a lean manufacturing project to improve the cycle time of one line. And we use some approach of lean, and it was perfectly fitting to this scientific thinking way. So always having this I would say 5 stupid questions that I'm saying. Why is my target? What I'm doing now? What could be the steps? And what did I learn from the previous one? And from this first experience, I figured out that it was really powerful if you were applying correctly the approach. And then step by step, I saw that finally the world is not only turning around mechanical, electrical, automatism, but there is a lot of things to improve by this kind of approach, and it works for logistics, for technical, for production, for people management, and that's why I've asked to work more and more on lean manufacturing. And finally, I made my internship of engineers on this topic of lean manufacturing.
Thank you, Anna, for your question. Does anybody has another question?
Yeah, maybe I have one. How do you deal with employees who are reluctant to change? You say, well, I've been doing this work for 50 years and you've just come to the company and now you want to change everything. I know better than you how it works and how it should work. Why should I change it if it's working? Do you have any ideas or tips or experiences that you've had with people who are reluctant to change?
Yeah, good points. First, avoid to say that I know how to work and this is the way. Because first of all, you don't know how to work. You have an idea, you have an approach, but trust that you will change it. And it's also this humble approach that need to be taken. To say, okay, we think that especially this year when we started with agile organization, we say, okay, we agree together that the world change and we are not having the same work 1 year ago compared to now. We have something, agile philosophy, that seems to correspond to that, but let's try it, let's think about that, like share it, and let's adjust. So it's really the fact that we are doing. We made our first quarter. Now we are finishing next week. Our complete agile organization. So it means that we deploy the strategy and the daily work in my factory in an agile way. I changed the role of the people, we changed it, but it was impossible to do it from black and white. And we accepted this quarter, so the 3 months, to try it, to do not be really 100% perfect compared to the standards, and to learn, to adjust, and so on. And between the first week of January and this week, we are not working in the same way. We are having the same direction, but we change a lot of routine, of content of work, and so on. And this is a behavior that really changed compared to what I learned in the previous year, to accept to go to your team and saying, I want to try something, let's discuss about that, and having your buy-in, and then we will try, we will fail, but no problem. If it fits, okay. If finally after 3 months we consider that it's not the good way, we'll stop and start something else. In lean manufacturing also, I have a picture in my office with the 3 monkeys, the well-known one. And I'm always having this picture in mind with my production guys, saying that in our case, in Gemba, when we go to observe, we need to listen to people, clearly. Listen to people that are working in the shop floor, in the technician, in the department also. We need to observe, clearly having a straight look of what is going on and just observing. And after, you need to shut up. You are a manager, you are somebody that is coming with something else, a new methodology for sure. But first, listen, have a look, discuss with people, and then after, you can have some discussion and bring some improvements. But really, I'm asking to the people, observe and shut up. Sorry for the word, but it's clearly what I mentioned in the one, and it works really well even with French people.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. Much appreciated.
Welcome. Maybe I can. I have also something in mind that I presented not here, but Martin, I think you saw it, and Naomi, the Roger model of innovation of diffusion that I presented. Yeah, it's something also that we discuss, the fact that when you are coming with a new innovation or a new cultural way, you cannot have the buy-in of everybody. You need to also understand in your organization who will be the early adopters, who will be the innovative guy that will test it and promote it. And you will always have some laggers, some people that will not buy it. But if you go and just have a look at Wikipedia, the Roger model, the diffusion of even innovation, you will see this curve taking in consideration that have a look and pick the people that are early adopters, that are addicted to innovation and accept to try something new. Try it with them, promote with this kind of people, and then after you will see that naturally you will have the other people that will accept this diffusion of culture and diffusion of innovation. Thank you for the link.
You're welcome, so that you can have a look at it if you want to. It's right here. Also, if you have comments, maybe you must have learned so much things today. So if you have any comments on it, you can also go ahead. He's here for that also, to answer your question and comments. Don't hesitate.
So I like the fact that you talked a lot about philosophy in your presentation, Andre. What's unique to Continental that that they've embraced Lean as a philosophy rather than just that selection of tools and let's just go and try and implement these and then argue with each other whether it doesn't work, etc. So what was the enlightenment that brought Continental to accepting that this is a philosophical way of doing something?
We used to have what we call CBS in Continental, that was a Continental Business System. And it was, as a lot of organization, a department aside from the other one that was having the lean knowledge and so on. And we figured out that we had some plan that were buying that and other one that were not buying it. And the one that were buying really this philosophy, lean or agile, is the one that were not having this kind of a side department. They were really, and nearly like Toyota, acting in several departments in a lean way and having some pilots of lean in each department. And so we understood that it has not to be something aside, it has to be integrated in the daily work. And then we discover the Shingo model that's at the point of time where we are Continental really applying a lot of tools and so on, made understand ourselves that we need to have a clear philosophy, have a clear system and so on, and not only having this toolbox, this CBS system that we used to have. We had also, we hired some guy from Toyota that were initially coming for the sales Toyota, but he was having 50% of his time coming and coaching us in the Toyota way. And he was always speaking to us with the 5 stupid questions of Kata, saying that don't talk me about this kind of tool and so on. Explain me your approach. And then we understood finally it's more deep than what we thought at the beginning.
Sorry, can I just ask a question? And just for companies that are kind of going down this agile transformation route, is top management support vital? Or do you see these kind of transformations happening at a grassroots level?
I think it will be really a global transformation because it answers to a constraint that it's worldwide. But you be at the mature level to understand that and willing that also. I think that it has to be an organizational transformation within a company also. Otherwise, and it's what we are experiencing in Continental compared to Bosch. Bosch made a clear, complete rollout after failing in the deployment of toolbox of Agile. Finally, they readjust the strategy and change it. And into Continental, in the last month, we made the same. It means that we asked for people to be agile. In all organization strategy, you were seeing this agile stuff to be complying to what the board was asking, but it was not clearly acting in this way. So it has to be an organizational complete change, and it has to be, like we said, in the leadership circle with the vision and so on. What we apply in 3 steps today, it's the cultural training. So clearly understand and take the basis of that. Then after practical, so practicing that in the policy deployments. So we are in Scrum today in the policy deployment just to practice that. And then after organize our structure in an agile way. And we call it learning, doing, and organizing. To say, and it's the Shuari that I detailed, to say, first listen, understand, apply, try it, move a little bit, and then after change your organization, because then you will jump into that, and then you will have new role. Like today, I will have in next month 100% Scrum Master in a factory that will handle only this role of Scrum Master, because we have, I will say, enough activity for these people to be only Scrum Master, which is complete something that is not that Continental is not ready to understand. So I think clearly for me, the automotive market will have to go that, because the VUCA world it's here. But if it's not a complete company change, it will never happen. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, it's just that I see it. I'm kind of working with some companies that are kind of going down the digital transformation route, and what they're finding is that culture is the biggest challenge, changing the mindset.
Yeah.
And as you say, it's kind of starting small and then scaling.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, but they also talk about the importance of like an effective governance process. You know,
it's exactly what is needed. But what we are facing today is that we are transforming the factory, but we are facing governments around us that is not prepared for that. For instance, when I'm talking about Scrum Master, I have a huge administrative, well-shaped organization that is not allowing me to put the master job profile name of the people as Scrum Master, because it's not something that is supposed to be in a factory. This kind of, you see things, and I'm saying, okay, I have a little freedom to act. So if I have a Scrum Master, let me call him a Scrum Master or call her a Scrum Master. I know it's not in our plan. It's not in my Excel file, so I cannot give you. So it's this kind of funny situation that we are facing today.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you also for everything, for this presentation. It was amazing. If anybody, sorry, has maybe another question or a remark or comment, just go ahead.
I think it's important to point out, if for those that mightn't be too familiar with your industry there in France, but you know, your competitors have faced a very different future to what you're facing there in Toulouse and Continental. I'm talking specifically about Michelin. They're a great brand and a big facility up in more central France, around Roche. Where is it? Up near La Rochelle, somewhere, is it? And they had to close down last year, didn't they?
Yeah. After, I have to admit something. We went to this new agile transformation in Toulouse, in Continental Toulouse, because we were really under the risk to lose the business and to close the activity. So even if we are well-established company, Continental, and we were supposed to have a bright future and so on, the difference between the colleagues that we have around us and maybe our situation is that we were facing really a high threat in the high-cost country, and specifically in the high-cost company like we in Toulouse, like in Germany. A lot of people to go to a low-cost area, and this agile transformation, supported by Lean, was an answer to move quickly to efficiency, to adaptation to the current world, adaptation to the current problematic that we had in aeronautic, in automotive, and to stay competitive. And it's in this kind of problematic, when you see a real risk upon you, that then you have the emergency that created, and then the change is easier to apply.
Yeah.
So
well done. Well done.
I don't know, well done. I don't know if we have really the choice, but it has been an answer this summer, because we had a huge and we applied that to say, okay, if you have to go in a different way, let's propose something different for having a different result. And that's why we apply that in this way.
Perfect. Does anybody have any last comments or questions? I know it's been a long day, and you're all ready to go out and see a little bit of sunshine for the the short time that you're authorized to go outside in lockdown?
Last admit that I don't know if I had any possibility to understand what I said if it was 20 years ago, because it's a lot of information for maybe young people that don't have really this problematic on the company. So it's normal. I think that it's disturbing them or not having some value on that.
Well, if anybody does have any questions that come to them tonight or tomorrow or the weekend, feel free to pass them on to us or to Martin, and he'll pass them on to us, and we can share them with Mr. Gonzalez and Salvez, and then you can get some feedback that way as well. It's some burning question that you come up with, or how really did you do that, or you said this, but I don't quite understand. Feel free. And if there are no remaining questions, then I would like to ask you to give a big round of applause to Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
You're fascinating and really out of the box as well for everyone. So thank you again. Does anybody, Martin, Lorraine, was there anything that you would like to add?
I just want to say it was an absolutely fantastic day.
Thank you.
The talks were excellent. Thanks a million, Andre. Thank you again, Naomi, and your team in Toulouse. Thank all the students for joining, Martin. Just fantastic. Thanks very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to reiterate that, you know, for my students, they're taking a module in Lean Principles for the IS professionals. So this was a fantastic end to what has been a really great day, of broader insight for them across the spectrum of what's happening really at the cutting edge of IS at the moment. But specifically this one for my module, and I think it really is a great capstone to what I have attempted to do in the classroom, albeit a Zoom classroom. It's fantastic to hear from you from the cold face of industry. And it's been great. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us from Ireland. Thank you to our TBS students that also checked in throughout the day. There will be a recording which we can share for anyone that got logged out or would like to watch something again. We might need to do a little bit of editing, but then we'll share it after that. So thank you, everyone. And remember, we are here in Toulouse, so if you ever stop by, make it to the southwest of France, don't hesitate to come knock at TBS. We'd be very happy to welcome you, and on exchange should you have the opportunity in the future. So thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic evening. And we hope to see you sometime in the future. Make it through lockdown. We'll get out of it.
Yes, for sure.